Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
The war on gay pride, from Disney to Target to Bud Light. Why are so many brands becoming the battlefield? Al Pacino is becoming a dad again at age 83. What do you think of having a baby much later in life? Summer swimsuit trends. A fashion expert is sharing the best looks for your body type. And that's so fetch. Iconic Mean Girls actress Lacey Chabert will be here live.
Oh my gosh.
Get real.
No. Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll.
Ew.
Oh. I was all excited that I was matching or coordinating with Jeff, like Erica and Al do, and Tori as well, but Jeff looked at me and went,
No, is that the same blue? I thought this is
It's
purple.
a purpley blue, yeah,
pretty
purple
close.
based, yeah.
close enough.
All right, well, let's do a show.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, hello. Okay, so this is important because tomorrow is the start of Pride Month, but we're already seeing a war on pride. So some conservatives are targeting brands for their support of the LGBTQIA+ community, saying the goal is to make the rainbow flag, quote, their words, absolutely toxic. Here are some examples. There's a new song called Boycott Target that is jumping up the charts on iTunes. Now, this is in reaction to the store's pride displays in inclusive bathing suits that are, quote, tuck-friendly. Bud Light is continuing to see drinkers boycott their beer. This is a video. You're looking at it right now from the George Strait concert showing lots of Bud Light left on vendors' shelves. There are also calls to boycott now Kohl's over the store's Pride onesie for babies. Finally, North Face is getting backlash over a Summer of Pride Instagram post featuring a drag queen. Take a look.
Hi, it's me, Patagonia, a real-life homosexual. And today I'm here with the North Face. We are here to invite you to come out in nature with us. Wow, this is nice. We like to call this little tour the Summer of Pride.
So what do you think of this war on pride? And are brands going to regret their pride initiatives, especially if it costs them billions of dollars? What would you say, Erica?
Well, I think conservative groups trying to make the pride flag absolutely toxic is just saying the quiet parts out loud, which is great in one capacity because y'all know how I feel about covert versus overt attempts to discriminate. But I also think it's an opportunity for everyone else to call this out as the false equivalency that it is. Everyone keeps talking about how the pendulum is swinging, but ultimately this is an attempt to really just discriminate against a group. And let's just keep in mind for people who feel like this doesn't apply to them because they aren't LGBTQIA+, the reason why it's so hyper-focused on LGBTQIA+, in my opinion, right now is because of the season. It's Pride season. So wait until the next minority group season and see what happens because this is a litmus test and everyone should be paying attention. At the end of the day, you have groups who really just want to say that they do not believe that the value of human life should be equally distributed amongst us all. And in this group, it's LGBTQIA+. So I think that it's really of anyone's best interest who believes in human rights and equality for all to call it out for what it is. Because right now we're trying to be like playing both sides, like, well, they have a right to, and everyone does have a right to their opinions, but you don't have a right to say that the value of someone else's life is less than your own, and that's exactly what's happening right now.
First of all, beautifully stated. I also want to just talk economics because you always say, you know, capitalism this, capitalism that. What's the long game? Do you think that by not talking about gay people and reading about them, they'll go away? Do these people not have gay friends, gay children, gay people in their lives? Do these books change them into gay people? Does the rainbow make you gay? What I don't understand is this doesn't A, play in a general election, and B, there's no money in it. Eventually, this boycott, which I agree, has cost Bud Light $19 billion in value. That's a lot. But LGBTQ has a buying power of $917 billion annually. So think about the switch that can come, and it will overcorrect itself. So the long game on this for DeSantis, for everyone, this weird culture war is a losing game. Gays exist. They're human beings. You can't be an ostrich and think, not in Florida though. It
And
doesn't
to
work
Tori's
that way.
point before Jeff and Al jump in, just to piggyback on that, 1 in 4 teenagers, we said this statistic, according to the CDC, identify as something other than heterosexual. So that's a
Right.
quarter of the future population. That's a big number capitalistically.
Correct.
Inclusivity should be leading the charge.
Even
but if
just
you're,
for money, you know what I
right.
mean?
Jeff, Al, please, have at it.
You know, you guys are talking macro and being very articulate in doing so. But, you know, I also look at this as it's also a war on yourself. Because if you're going to be angry, you're going to take that. If you're thinking about the war on Christmas, that means you're not thinking about Christmas. You're not thinking about the holidays. This last weekend was the first time my family had all been in the same room in probably 6 years. And if you're going into that, driving past the Kohl's, feeling anger, driving past the Chick-fil-A, not eating there, and arguing in the car about why, when you show up to that event, who are you? What's the point of any of this? I think the number one thing that all these groups do is they take away your life. They take away your joy, because every single thing you do, don't buy that doll, it's black. Don't eat there. The gay people made those fries. And after this, you're just boxed off from the world. You're this weird person that's mad about everything. You're mad about what's on the football field. You're mad about what's on the radio. You're mad about what Kohl's stocks in the back in swimsuits. And at the end of your life, because I've been with 2 people as they've transitioned from this life, I was holding their hands when they died. And guess what we weren't thinking about? Right. Swimsuits and Bud Light. So if you want to waste this life that you've been given, have at it, bro. But don't talk to us when, you know, you're disinvited to a college graduation, when your nephew or your daughter doesn't want you to walk her down the aisle. Go talk to Bud Light then.
Beautifully stated. Chills.
Yeah, listen, Al, I agree with you 1,000%. I think we see eye to eye on a lot of things in this world, and we come from 2 different places. And
We
I think that's
finish each other's
a
sentences
beautiful
like a
thing.
weird couple
I think
in the
that's a
car.
beautiful thing,
Yes.
because that's what I try to focus on. But unfortunately, there's social events that I take myself out of because I'm not allowed to be myself anymore. And it doesn't mean I'm a bigot or a racist or a homophobe, but everyone wants to pigeonhole you. Everyone wants to point the finger and say, that guy did this, that guy said this. I have to preface everything before I talk with, I'm not this, I'm not that. Well, that's exactly what a racist would say. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the arguing. I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want to say anything because it's overwhelming, the hate that you get back, because people have no lives. They have no one to appreciate. They're dark inside, and they have to deflect it onto you. I think a lot of this is the answer of what will happen in cancel culture. It went too far. Way too far, but I wasn't allowed to speak up here 3 years ago. Otherwise, my job was literally on the line. My family, my bosses might not say that, but I felt that way. That was the cancel culture went way too far. This is going too far, and what's happening is, 3 years ago, it was the studios. It was all CBS, ABC, NBC trying to overcorrect things. They put people in positions. You want to talk about Bud Light? I don't care about Dylan Mulvaney. I don't care about Bud Light. That marketing director screwed up. And no one's talking about her. That director did a bad job. We could talk about that another time. But we're getting these people in positions that are like, oh, I have to do this to justify my job. They're not looking at what the market wants. And some of these things are getting jammed down your throat. And I think that's where we're seeing the pushback. I don't think people really care about, they're not going to, in 5 years, they're going to drink Bud Light, they're going to shop at Target, they're going to eat at Chick-fil-A, they're going to do what conveniences them. But right now, they're getting things jammed down their throat. And 3 years ago, they weren't allowed to speak about it. So now you're seeing the outrage on the other side.
Good
Well
conversation. Coming up on DBL, a new survey is revealing what teachers really think about being armed in classrooms. We're talking about it next. And Hallmark movie queen Lacey Chabert will be here live. Can't wait to talk with her. Coming up next.
Our viewers are talking about DBL. Yes!
I like that.
Leaves me speechless and like blushing.
Thank you, thank you.
That's emotional.
Do I want to sit there and watch them? Yes, I do.
Yeah, we picked these stories so I could talk about Monday. So
Sam,
I'll
we
do
didn't
that at
hear
the
from
very
you.
end.
What did you think about
Oh,
the
I thought the
conversation?
conversation was so good. I thought Jeff's point was so good. I thought, Eric, everybody. I literally felt like I was a viewer at home shaking my head. I forgot that I was the moderator. I was like, yes, 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 yes. It's not black or white. There's so much nuance to the way many people feel. But the bottom line, I think what you said, Al, gave me goosebumps. At the end of the day, when you're holding your loved one's hand, what are you talking about? You're talking about how much you love them, or you're sitting there with regret. that you didn't be more inclusive, or you weren't there for their wedding, or you weren't there for their graduation. So I thought, that hopefully from a humanity level, people at home will see it for what it is. Everything else doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The hate doesn't
I was
matter.
at a wedding. I've been at 2 weddings in the last 2 weeks, and it really has helped me appreciate just like being in the room with people. Even though today, shout out, today's my mom's birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Dr. Jackie.
Well, we snuck in one when we were on the way to the wedding. I snuck and bought a cake, and we did like a 5-minute birthday because it was the first non-Zoom birthday in years.
Time. Yep.
And so like these little things, just that little cake from Kroger was like the best cake we could have ever had, because there were people and it was life, and it's like reminding me what this is all about, because we were all starting to adapt to Zoom life, and like this is how I talked. I talked to my niece by putting my finger on the webcam, and I actively fight to have that life, and I think a lot of people are doing groupthink over the internet because there is such a disconnection to human beings and just touch.
They're
and like
joining a mob group because they're so isolated.
That's their family.
Wow.
That's exactly right.
Welcome back. There are a couple of new eye-opening polls about guns and gun violence. Up first, teachers across the country were asked if arming them would make schools more or less safe. And a majority, 54% of teachers said carrying firearms would make schools less safe, while 1 in 5 teachers, just 1 in 5, say that they would be interested in carrying a gun to school. So what do we think of this poll? Tori, your eyes were wide open.
I just don't think more guns in that building. We saw Uvalde. How many men with guns were there? You always say a good guy with a gun. It's so stupid. More fire, more bullets, more death. It is a scientific equation. So I really disagree with this.
I'm going to take the other side. I think it's a good thing, because we don't have an answer and the government isn't going to give us one, and we're never all going to agree on an answer. If someone is educated in how to handle a gun and they prepare themselves and they know how to use their weapon and they are willing to say, hey, I'll put this and put it in a lockbox and put it in a drawer and I will bring it to school as a teacher. I'm not saying you have to, it's part of your curriculum. You don't have to if you don't want to. But if you're one of those people saying, I will because of Uvalde, there's guys out with guns that wouldn't go in there. But if someone's running across my classroom and I know how to handle this weapon, I'm going to step up and do something and hopefully could take away that threat. You should not have to.
Against an AR-15 is
but you should not have to. But if you are willing and able to do so, you should have the right. That's my stance.
We have one more poll. This is a new USA Today poll. It found that 6 in 10 Americans say it's more important to control gun violence than to protect gun rights. That includes 4 in 10 gun owners. This is a significant change from 2013 when people were equally split on the subject. Oh my gosh, so I need to have the floor right now because this is something that is very near and dear to my heart, to all of your hearts. For me, it's abhorrent to see that the majority of Americans want to do something. You just said you can't trust our government to do anything to protect yourself and your children.
That was a sad
statement. That's inhumane. We're not a dictatorship. We are a democracy. And the majority of Americans are telling their leadership, we don't feel safe. We're sick and tired of seeing people being gunned down on television or in neighborhoods or in malls, burying our children. So I always like to have an action step because, to your point, Jeff, government officials are not doing anything when it comes to saving our lives and our children's lives. Action step. There is a massive national peaceful protest. Okay, this is going to be solemn because a lot of gun survivors are going to be there. Gun violence survivors are going to be there. And we are going to force the hand of Governor Polis. We're going to give him an executive order to end gun violence. Then we're going to go state by state. This is 25,000 of us. This is big. I'm asking you, if you feel the same way I do, join me June 5th, this Monday, Here for the Kids Action, number 4. Here for the Kids Action. We're going to be a part of the change, and I want you to be a part of that change too. We'll be right back.
There is nothing I like better than finding a great deal on travel. And it turns out I'm not alone. Verify viewer Catherine emailed us to ask, is there a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket? So Catherine, let's verify. Our sources are Scott's Cheap Flights, a study by cheapair.com, and Brett Snyder, president of Cranky Concierge Travel Assistance and a former airline pricing analyst. Some studies suggest Tuesday or Saturdays are the cheapest days to buy tickets, but all of our sources say they usually rely on flawed or outdated data. For example, some articles suggest that weekends are the cheapest days to buy. Snyder points out that's based on data that tracks the average amount spent on a ticket each day of the week. Families tend to buy their tickets on weekends and usually purchase less expensive tickets. Meanwhile, business travelers tend to buy their tickets during the week, and many are less price sensitive.
A lot of the business travel, premium cabin or even last minute or whatever it might be, those tend to be higher fares.
The end result is a study that has skewed data. Similar articles suggest Tuesdays offer the best deals, but our sources say that's also not the case. Scott's Cheap Flights explains on its site that this idea is a holdover from the 1990s when airlines used to upload special e-fares on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. These days, Snyder says airlines use sophisticated algorithms to consistently adjust fares based on demand, regardless of what day of the week it is.
This hasn't existed for years. I couldn't tell you the last time when those actually were out there in the market.
So we can verify, no, there is not a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket. So when should you book? Cheapair.com found domestic tickets are generally cheapest 3 to 15 weeks before departure. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. We came to know and love her in Party of Five as the baby of the bunch, then as the heiress to the toaster strudel fortune in Mean Girls. Now she's still very booked and very busy with over 30 Hallmark movies under her belt. I think I've seen them all, including her latest murder mystery. Please welcome to the show, Lacey Chabert.
Hi there. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Lacey, you look fantastic. I have to point that out. I don't know if I can these days, but you look great. I'm just going to leave it there. All right.
You're very kind.
Let's jump right in. You're starring in The Dancing Detective, A Deadly Tango, with your co-star and good friend Will Kemp. So, were there any of your dance scenes, were they difficult to shoot, him being a dancer?
Oh my goodness, very difficult. I am not a dancer. I did learn to dance quite a bit with Will on a movie that we did a few years ago called Christmas Waltz. We had such a fun time doing that. And you know what? It was really great to face a fear and take on the challenge. But that was waltzing, ballroom dancing. And in this one, we do a little tango and foxtrot. And so Will's an incredible dancer, and I am not. But we had a wonderful choreographer. I learned a whole lot, and I gotta say the biggest challenge was, we would learn the dance routines, we'd practice and practice and practice, and you'd feel pretty good about it. And then when you would go to actually film that day, you're like, oh wait, now we have to say dialogue on top of this while we're putting steps in our head and looking around and acting out a scene, and it was quite the challenge, but a fun one.
Well, one thing that doesn't appear to be a challenge is y'all's locations, because you filmed this movie in Malta and you go all over the globe to shoot movies for Hallmark. So cool. And your daughter actually travels with you a lot. So where do you have the best family memories?
Oh my goodness, what a good question. Aw, yeah, Julia is, my total heart, and I just adore that little girl so much. And one of the pluses is that, on the plus side, we've gotten to travel together, and I got to take her to Belgium, and I was doing a movie called Love, Romance, and Chocolate, and oh my goodness, we ate 9 pounds of chocolate every single day, which was amazing. And it's funny because, I love making these movies so much. People say they bring them joy. I don't think people understand how much joy they bring to my life, the process of making them. And I have so many wonderful memories attached to them. But now that I'm a mom, those memories have become, oh, that was the movie that she got her first tooth, or this was the movie that she lost her first tooth, or, I associate so many milestones with what was also going on in my life at the time. And it's just, they're full of really sweet memories.
By the way, that's how you know you made it, is when you associate milestones with the movies you were doing. That was
in Malta.
You did good, yeah.
I didn't mean it like that. I hope that didn't sound obnoxious.
You're not apologize
But,
for
you know, I've
being
been in
talented and
business.
successful. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I've been in this business my whole life,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so many of my life experiences for myself have happened on set, and are memories that I really treasure.
well, let's stay with on set because your daughter, she is growing up. Now, do you want her to eventually find a life on set as well as an actor?
Oh my goodness, I don't know about that. You know what? I've had a really blessed experience, and have had a really wonderful experience in this business. I had very protective parents.
Yes.
I think I also grew up in the business when it was a bit of a different time, but I love it, and I am thankful every day that my parents nurtured what was my passion. I didn't understand that as a kid, but it was clearly something I was meant to be a part of and be an entertainer. So I'm really thankful that they did that. And I, of course, will offer my daughter the same support, whatever that is. I just want her to find her own path and be, determined and driven and drawn to something that is for her, whatever that may be.
Right. That answer is so fetch. I really do like it. Fans have crowned you the queen of Hallmark. You've been in over 30 Hallmark movies. For people that are not in the business, Lacey, how can you try to at least paint that picture of how hectic your shooting schedule actually is?
Well, most of the movies are done in 15 days, which is really fast to shoot a movie. So it's a lot of work. It's fast and furious, especially when you're on location. You're living, breathing this movie, and you become really close with the people around you. It's like being at camp. I always say it's like being at camp or having like a high school experience. You become close. You're working hard together, and most of the time we're making Christmas magic, which is really, really, really fun. And I feel so lucky. I've been in this business a long time, and what I have found with Hallmark is I'm able to be a part of something that just brings some joy and light to the world. And even this one, it's a mystery, but it's a real adventure movie. These characters go on an adventure, and even though there's a serious subject matter at the core of what's going on, there is a lot of comedy and there's a lot of levity to be found in it as we go undercover together. And it was fun for me because I got to be the detective this time.
Ooh, I can't wait as a Hallmark fan. I'm going to love every bit of this. Okay, so you did make your name for yourself in the 90s with Party of Five. We're going to show you 3 throwbacks of your fashion moments, Lacey, from the 90s and 2000.
It's going to be unfortunate, I can already tell.
You never know. You may want to rock these first. So here's the first one. I want to show you all 3. Okay, there you are. Knee-high socks with a dress. Next, necktie as a belt. And last, tank top, jeans, and scarf on the red carpet. Would you rock any of these looks today?
Absolutely not. I gotta say, clearly I was a fan of an accessory back then. Now I'm at a point in my life where I appreciate wearing my whole shirt.
Yep.
But it's so funny. Most people have like yearbooks, to show for their teenage years. And I have, I was on Party of Five during those pivotal years of my life. Nothing but good memories from that show. And all of these pictures where you're like, oh, that was that awkward phase. And that was when I definitely shouldn't have been dressing myself for red carpets.
I love it, though. It's relatable. Lacey, thank you so much for joining us today. DBL Nation, be sure to watch The Dancing Detective and Deadly Tango out June 2nd on the Hallmark Channel. Thanks again, Lacey. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Lacey.
So much. Take care.
Does sunscreen contain cancer-causing ingredients? We turn to the sources listed here to verify. In one high-profile instance, yes, by accident. In 2021, several Johnson & Johnson sunscreen products were recalled after they were found to contain traces of the carcinogen benzene, which the manufacturer says is not a sunscreen ingredient. On store shelves, you'll see 2 main types of sunscreen, chemical and physical. American Academy of Dermatology Association defines a chemical sunscreen as one that absorbs the sun's rays using chemicals like oxybenzone, and a physical sunscreen is one that deflects the sun rays with minerals like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. Much of the concern of sunscreen safety comes from research published in the last few years, finding the body can absorb ingredients in chemical sunscreen. Something applied topically can be found in the bloodstream days, even weeks later. Most chemical sunscreens include at least one of these common ingredients, according to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, that haven't been studied closely enough to be fully determined safe. The Environmental Working Group specifically recommends against using sunscreens containing oxybenzone, a potential hormone disruptor. However, Dr. Allison Larson explains the evidence supporting sunscreen's role in preventing cancer outweighs the known risk from absorbing chemicals.
If that's a concern, use a physical sunscreen. They simply stay as a layer outside the skin. And these are the sunscreens that used to be the very pasty white. It's totally different these days.
Our source is a watercolor study from Alive Solutions and Allie Gaines with Charlotte Aquatics. According to Alive Solutions, bright and contrasting colors are easier to see underwater. This is important because if your kid goes underwater for a long period of time, you'll want to easily spot them. The Alive Solutions color test shows some examples. In this series of photos, fabric colors such as bright reds, pinks, blues, and greens show up better when compared to fabrics such as light blue, light gray, black, and white. As you can see, the colors white and light blue basically disappear when underwater. Gaines says drownings are so prevalent in children under the age of 4. She confirms kids should be wearing brightly colored swimsuits.
Neon colors are much better. They're easier to spot in the water.
Gaines says while picking out the perfect swimsuit color is important for parents, it's only a secondary measure for preventing accidents in pools.
If you're not actually watching the water, if you're not actually watching your kids, it's really not going to do very good.
Gaines also suggests putting your kids in swim lessons at an early age to help get them used to being around the water.
So swim lessons are always going to be your number one way to keep your kids safe around the water, best way to prevent drowning. Formal swim lessons actually reduce the risk of drowning by 88%.
So we can verify that yes, brighter colored swimsuits are easier to spot if your kid goes underwater. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
We love sharing your comments. Of course, everybody loving Lacey Chabert. Julia says, loving the flashback pics. Latricia says, Lacey is still just as adorable she was 15 years ago. She looks the same.
Yeah, she
absolutely.
looks the same.
And Emma says, now I want to watch Mean Girls, such a classic. You threw in a Mean Girls.
I was trying to.
word.
Someone in our great chat had said, that's so fetch. And I forgot that's her total thing from Mean Girls. And she's so comically talented, too. Like, I love her in all the Hallmark, but that girl has some timing on her. So she's... bless her. Is that what you say?
Well said.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
What did Kelly over there say? Kelly went, oh. If you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. Watch on YouTube, dailyblastlive.com, or our app. But if you get the second half of the show where you are, here is what's ahead. We're getting ready for summer with the latest swimsuit trends. A fashion expert is sharing the best looks for different body types. Plus, Al Pacino is becoming a father again at 83. We're talking all about it next.
We saw this post on social media. Natalie B said, someone wants to buy something I listed on Facebook, and they texted me that they needed to send me a random code to validate that my post was real. She wanted to know if it was a scam. So let's verify. Our sources, Tom Bartholomew, president of the Better Business Bureau Charlotte and Facebook Marketplace.
Bartholomew says this is most likely a scam, and the so-called buyer may actually be trying to take control of the seller's phone.
You can then go in and set up a Google phone, but that generates a code, and it goes to whoever has that phone number then. So that code would come to me, and I'd see it on my phone. I'd say, oh, this must be about the Facebook Marketplace. I'd go ahead and and enter that code that provides it to that other person as well, and now they have your phone.
Bartholomew says that's when the scammer can make long-distance phone calls or even overseas calls without you even knowing. Under the Marketplace tab on Facebook, there are several tips and safety instructions to users. Under Protect Your Privacy, Facebook states don't respond to messages or emails that ask you to provide verification codes or account information such as your email or password.
Facebook says if you buy through Facebook by tapping Buy Now on the Marketplace listing, eligible purchases are covered by purchase protection, just an additional layer of security for transactions.
So we can verify that, yes, if someone asks you to send them a validation code on Facebook Marketplace, it's most likely a scam. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Get real.
No. Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. Lots to talk about. So first and foremost, Al Pacino is going to be a dad again. Al, who is 83, is expecting a baby with his 29-year-old girlfriend, Noor Al-Fala. The two have been dating since last year, but according to TMZ, the pregnancy came as a total surprise.
To whom?
This is the fourth child for Al, who has 22-year-old twins with actress Beverly D'Angelo and a 33-year-old daughter from another relationship. Now, Noor is a former executive at Sony and reportedly dated Mick Jagger in the past. All right, so what do we think about Al being an older dad? His buddy, Al Pacino, at 79, just became a 79-year-old Oh, dad. Robert De Niro, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What did I call him?
Pacino.
Not double Pacino. Double De Niro.
It's Al Pacino.
It's two Pacinos.
Yeah, there you go.
I think this is a Pacino. And I really do think he'll be 101 when they go to when they graduate high school. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be honest, I don't love it. I know I started doing that lately. But I also have learned from Miss Cobb, stay out of people's bedrooms, right? So I'm torn against that, as well as like, man, for that kid, there's no, not only father, but Al Pacino father. Hey, way.
This whole show is going in people's bedrooms. That's the whole thing. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's too old. And Al, like, listen, I love Pacino and I love De Niro. I love those guys. To me, it's a little selfish. And in that picture we just showed, he's like, does this hat make me look 73? You know what I mean? He's 82. It's too old. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? He's like, should I wear this?
And also, why is it so high up?
And she's like, yeah, Al, you look, what do you mean? He's 83. You think that he just put on a ball cap? Like, it's going to look younger? Whatever. Here's my thing. It's selfish. I'm a dad. Whatever you want to do, Al, she doesn't care about him being there hands-on. I'm a dad. I like playing catch with my kids. I like being there for my kids. I want to see them grow up. And for me to be selfish enough to impregnate someone when I'm 83 to say, you take care of them now, I'll just pay for it. It's a little selfish for me personally having children.
I definitely see that point, but I will say, and I was leaning your side, Jeff, and I'm still kind of there. But I think we have to make some space for the idea that we all come into this world, we don't know what we're coming into. You don't know if you're going to be Blue Ivy or just, you're going to be born to parents that aren't there and you're raised in the system. No one knows. It's not up to you. This kid, for as much as it will not be able to play catch with its father or probably be walked down the aisle by their father, this kid will not have the financial worries that plague most people throughout their lives. Paying for college, a safe place to live, having access to good food, which is something that is not a guarantee for anybody in this country or in most places. I think there will be advantages. I'm not saying that they will offset those memories that you talk about and that knowledge that you absorb from the parental figure, but I do think that there are some advantages that have to be brought into the fold.
Erica, what do you think?
Well, I mean, people make families in a lot of different ways, and children find themselves in situations where sometimes they don't have one parent or both parents. That doesn't mean that they don't have a maternal figure in their life or a paternal figure in their life. So I think people, first of all, hey, apparently this was a surprise. There's a lot of surprises that happen, and in this country, in a lot of places, you're going to be seeing that surprise through. So I think that this is just another example of, I mean, clearly this is a more affluent example of a potential surprise, but everyone always wants to throw their opinions into the mix, and at the end of the day, these are all very personal choices and should continue to be very personal choices.
I have a quick question. There's a famous poll that's going out. Who's hotter, a young De Niro or a young Pacino?
Oh, I saw that.
And it's at 50-50. I thought we could go ahead and vote on which one.
I'm feeling De Niro.
Okay.
Pacino looks like a painting.
I'm going to go with Pacino because he kind of looks like my husband.
Yeah, it looks like Anthony. And so does De Niro.
Yeah, but so does De Niro.
Right.
That's true. Anthony looks like everybody.
Yeah. Jeff, who do you think's more handsome?
I don't like to judge people for their appearance.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I'm better now.
Okay. Amanda Seyfried, who played disgraced Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes in The Dropout, is sounding off on her prison sentence. Elizabeth reported to a Texas prison yesterday where she will serve her 11-year sentence for investor fraud and conspiracy. She leaves behind her son, who is almost 2, as well as a 3-month-old daughter. Amanda, who won an Emmy for her role as Elizabeth, reacted to her sentence on GMA. Take a listen.
This is who I am.
I feel for those kids.
Yeah.
There's 2 kids that are hanging in the balance here. As a parent, I'm just like, as a mom, I don't know. It's life's not fair, but in a lot of ways, it's fair.
Yeah.
For her in particular.
Elizabeth, who is also in the same prison as Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shah, who is serving 6.5 years for fraud. Erica, what do you think about her sentence? And then what do you think about Jen Shah and her being in the same prison?
Well, word on the street was that Jen Shah was trying to get into the same prison that Elizabeth was going to be in during her sentencing.
Notoriety.
I don't know. I guess I would want to know if my game was fraud. How to fraud more. I have no idea.
Right.
I don't know, but I do. This is the other side of the equation. But we just had this conversation about Al Pacino being 83 and welcoming a child into this world, and I'm like, it does feel like a lot of people thought that she got pregnant because it would give her some leniency on her sentence.
I did.
The flip side.
I did.
Absolutely.
If that's
I 100%
did. So selfish.
It's a strategy, as is everything she does in her life.
But the flip side to that is, and I'm not saying that it's balanced or that it's fair, is that she is a woman of a certain age, and if she were to become a mom, then she would have to make some of those choices. So, yeah.
I think she made one by having a 3-month-old right now.
But why? It's funny. I don't know. I just want to jump in. Why is it selfish for her to do that, but not selfish for De Niro and Pacino to do that?
I think both are selfish. I didn't speak on the last segment, but I'm in agreement with you that I get it, not allowed to be in other people's bedrooms, but I do think 83 years old, not being there for your child is not being a present parent. And I think her getting purposely, allegedly, knocked up before she goes into prison. I mean, she defrauded $140 million from people, and she's going to be in prison for
11 years.
11 years. That's the bulk of her child's childhood. That's selfish.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but at least Pacino will be there. He won't be 24-year-old Pacino, but he will be there in some capacity.
But he won't. Time will take its course at some point. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? So to stay out of one person's bedroom, but to go into another, kind of hypocritical.
But I don't think it's hypocritical, only because I think that she's to allegedly possibly use your kid.
And I'm not sticking up for her in any way. Yeah.
We're just talking here, man.
Yeah.
You know, to allegedly use your child to get a lighter sentence is the fundamental explanation for exploitation.
And let me just explain why I think that, and it's alleged, is that she's created the farce of her voice, the turtleneck, everything about her was planned, and everything
You sound just like her.
Well,
I know, that's scary.
Yeah. Well, it isn't hard to do it. She practiced and practiced. You just lower that voice. And then all of a sudden now, if you talk to her on the New York Times, she doesn't have the voice. So everything is a facade for her. So I question the legitimacy of that. But I also now got shut up because that was a really good point by Erica.
Well, no, I just
it's a fair
think
point.
it's a point that deserves to be out there
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
True. All right, so every year there's a cheese.
Switching gears.
Just pivot to the cheese, okay? So every year there is a big competition in Britain. Yes, people compete by chasing after a cheese wheel.
God.
It's intense, you guys. They roll down the hill. The first person to the bottom wins and gets to keep the cheese. This year's female winner was actually knocked unconscious.
Oh, no.
Trying to race down the hill as she totally face plants before tumbling across the finish line while blacking out.
Oh, my word.
However, she was totally fine with it. That's why we're all laughing, because she's fine with it.
I don't know if she's totally fine.
Here's what she said, though, after she found out she won. Then you be the judge.
How many times are we going to see this?
You took hell of a tumble.
Did I?
Yeah. So what do you remember of the race?
I remember running and then I hurt my head. And then I woke up in the tent.
How does it feel to be the winner?
It feels so good. It just kind of hit me, but yeah.
Well, it's not the only thing that hits you, sis.
Right.
You
Also,
play
she's
silly
married.
games, you win cheesy prizes.
What do they win?
They win the cheese.
What cheese? A block of
The
it?
cheese that's rolling down.
Just that block of cheese?
Yes,
They were
you get
chasing it.
Brown cheese.
And then they win a trophy.
I think the cheese is the trophy, Sam.
That's it?
It's not a good idea.
You walked right into that one. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of fun, but should we have a rule that you have to be conscious to win?
No. If you're going to put your body on the line like that, you win.
No, but not.
You just got to cross the line. I'm for it. This is why other countries are better than us.
For somebody staying conscious through the finish line. I give an extra point
What
to
if
that.
you pass out as you're a marathon runner and right at the end you just pass out?
If you don't cross the finish line, you don't win.
Right,
she sacrificed her body for the victory. Her legs didn't work anymore. She consciously threw herself down to be unconscious and win the cheese. She definitely deserves it.
One more time. Look at the group of men that are waiting for. It's like a fake paramedic team that are waiting.
It's a real
And wait, what are they doing? There's 6 of them. There's nobody. Why are they? Somebody just puts his hands out like, oh, I'll get her when she wakes up. There's nobody.
How does she not have brain damage?
Yeah, or concussion.
Seriously.
Right.
Could I also suggest?
I have an answer for you.
Okay.
The cheese that they win, you're right, they win that cheese.
Okay.
It's worth $1,000.
All right, so that's
a big deal.
Yeah, but
it's not just a block of cheese. It's $1,000.
You're the one asking for the trophy. I said the cheese was the trophy, and I'm getting yelled at for your terrible idea.
I'm telling you, it's worth $1,000.
To who?
It's worth $1,000.
It's covered in grass.
I just want to say we should follow this story up with anytime we get in political debates or sexual discussions.
Right.
Roll the cheese video, and it'll make everything all right.
Diffuse.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. All right, coming up on DBL, celebrity stylist and fashion expert Kim Appelt will be here live to talk about the swimsuit trends for 2023. We can't wait. Next.
Our viewers are talking about DBL.
Yes!
I like that.
Leaves me speechless and like blushing.
Thank you.
That's emotional.
Do I want to sit there and watch them? Yes, I do.
It's big.
It's not as. By the way, the woman who won.
I've known about this for years. I wanted to go to Europe and do it.
It's a 9-pound wheel of
Yeah,
cheese.
it's like a running with the bowls thing. It's something you do.
And I think it
the
is Gouda.
tomatoes in Italy.
It's cheddar bee.
It's cheddar bee.
I like cheddar better than Gouda.
By the way,
nice
can I
sharp
be
cheddar.
honest? That woman sounded American who won. Maybe
No,
her.
she's from Canada.
Oh, okay. I thought. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
I thought
she's
maybe
from
she had a
Canada.
concussion or something, and that could be scary. By the way, we're talking about bathing suits coming up, and I just would love to get everybody's opinion on chat. If you could, hi, this
quick
is Sierra.
interruption.
She's fantastic.
I am.
She will own this studio one day.
I will.
Go ahead.
We're gonna cut this hourglass one.
Oh, because no one is. Okay,
Well, Mary J.
perfect.
Blige.
But no one
Nobody's
is.
Mary
Okay, we're talking about apple and pear shape, and we both us get it. Here's my question for you guys: where do you shop for bathing suits? Is it Old Navy? Is it Cupshe? Is it Amazon? There's also something called Summer Salt, with like salt, is in like salty. Yeah, that's supposed to be good.
Yeah,
So
summer
I'm
salt's
asking them
really
to write in,
great for
Kel.
someone like me who has a little bit of a pooch right here.
I have a pooch as well.
It really sucks you in.
Like
it makes
ruching, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes you feel like, you know.
Are they $1 million? You know how some bathing suits are like $300?
I will say they're probably around $100. I do think I probably paid around $100. And my mom got one, and she got a cute little skirt to go with it to
that's
cover her up, and
cute.
she feels really comfortable in that. So
I will recommend going to retailmenot.com
Yes.
before, putting in whatever website
Super
it is,
smart.
and it gives you a 10 to 20% off code. So that can help with, or free shipping. So that's my little hint. Before you buy anything, go to retailmenot.com. What kind of cheese, if you don't wear pink, you can't sit with me? This was a Mean Girls Day, because both Lacey and Amanda Seyfried, is that her name?
Welcome back, DBL Nation. Do you ever feel lost when shopping for swimwear? I've been going through this for like 3 months.
Yeah,
seriously. If a swimsuit is the right fit for you, do you wonder that? What can you wear outside of the water? We have celebrity stylist and fashion expert, thank goodness, Kim Appelt, here to help us elevate our swim apparel. Kim, we need you. Welcome to DBL.
Hey, Kim. So as we get older, should we feel limited to a certain swim silhouette or color or patterns? Help us out here.
I don't think, here's my thing. I don't think as we age, we need to get limited by palettes or things like that. I think that you want to really go with something that you feel good in. That's the most important thing. I know everyone says that, but the biggest thing is actually location. And I want to know if any of you guys have done this. So think about going to put on a bathing suit and you're going to like a very bougie hotel. And you put on your like leopard bikini and you're like, wait a minute, this is the wrong environment. And so I feel like you need to tailor yourself. So those were 2 examples. Like in Miami, you might wear something different than you might if you are somewhere much more like preppy and classic. A different environment, because you really stick out like a sore thumb. So my answer to that is it's location specific to, I think, what bathing suit you should choose, and you just want to choose something that you feel good and you feel comfortable.
I'm so glad you said location specific, because I'm trying to wear a suit I feel comfortable with at the pool where there's parents and kids. That's important to me. Now, if I go to Miami, I'll whip out the
Yes, you will.
Right?
All right. Yes, you will.
For those of us that don't feel comfortable in swimwear, what are some things we can wear to feel more confident at the pool or beach?
Well, I mean, the most obvious one is the cover-up. And so again, being a mom at the pool, I think this is a common thing.
Yes.
So the first image that you see, I'm so obsessed with this bathing suit, is by a company called Shan. It matches the cover up. This is not the pool with the kids outfit. This is you are on a bougie vacation with your partner, with girlfriends, whatever. But still, if you don't feel comfortable in your bathing suit, you have a bit of a cover up. The second one, a linen shirt. You can throw on like an oversized linen shirt with the kids. You're going to be covered. You're not going to look too exposed. And it's just a very good look. The third one, there's many skirts and like sort of sports style tops out there. So if you do have little kids or you're chasing grandkids, this is a great piece for you. So don't be afraid of the cover-ups. There's so many different kind of options that you can wear in many different environments that work for you.
Love it.
Those are great notes and great options, but like, how do we make the situation of going to buy these options more pleasant? I know that shopping for swimwear is very unpleasant for a lot of people. So how do we make the actual buying of these suits fun?
It's true. It's not super pleasant for everyone, and I get that. Number one, if you really don't want to do it, shop online. That's an option for you. Take note of like the model size. Oftentimes they'll say this model is this tall, this model is wearing this size. So start to get familiar with that. So if you can shop online. Number 2, take a great friend. We all have that friend that's amazing, funny, confident, like pumps you up. Take her or him. Bring them, because they're going to give you that energy that's going to kind of get you motivated. And number 3 is don't go into shopping for your swimwear looking like you just rolled out of bed, because you ultimately have to stare in the mirror and try on all these different suits. And if you have like greasy hair in a bun or whatever it is that you've done, you're just not going to be impressed with yourself in anything that you put on.
That's fair. I also think the dressing room lighting, that's something there. The mirrors, it's not me, it's the lighting. Kim, we all have very different body shapes. Everyone in the chat sort of writing this right now. There are many different types of swimsuits. Can you please help us understand what silhouette is best for the different body shapes? So I'm going to start with my shape. It's apple, where you're sort of like bigger right in the middle. Oh, that looks cool.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
That's darling.
So apples, this is a beautiful example for apples. You might be a little thicker in the middle.
Yes.
So look at the ruching in that strapless suit. That one's actually from Veronica Beard. I love the neutral color. Again, that's not a bathing suit by the pool with your kids, maybe in black.
Yeah.
But that's more of a fancy one. But the ruching really helps detract. It kind of gives you a waist slimming. The cut of the top is drawing attention up to your shoulders. Very beautiful. So things like that are great for apple body type. Any type of color blocking is great. Cutouts. There's tons of bathing suits that will suck you in if that is your thing. I believe so many on the market, and you can just type in like tummy control, cutouts, color blocking, whatever you want, and you will see a million options come up.
Okay, that's good. Tell me about the pear body. Let's not hear it for the pears. A little bit wider in the bottom. We love the pears.
We love the parrots. Here's the thing about the parrots. You are carrying more on the bottom, and that is amazing and beautiful. And you want to give some details to the tops. Look at that green one with the ruffles. It's so beautiful because your eye is drawn up. I love the one color, the color blocking the black on the bottom. It's slimming the bottom, but really drawing you to the top. And especially a wrap suit like that, absolutely stunning. It's going to be so comfortable. It's going to hold everything in, and it's a showstopper.
I love that. All right, what about the Hourglass buy? We're not going to exclude them. Hourglass, let's hear it.
I mean, the Hourglass, we love you, and you have the best body type to wear most things, and so you are so lucky. You are narrow in the waist, you can wear most things, and pretty much anything works for you as long as you highlight your waist and you feel good in it.
Wow. I really... Just please, Kim, come shopping with
Yeah,
us, right?
she's that friend.
I'm so good at these suits. Kim, thank you so much for joining us today. To our viewers, follow Kim on Instagram at StyleByKimXO for more fashion tips. You can also pre-order Kim's new book, Style for Everybody, on Amazon or through Barnes & Nobles. Thanks again, Kim.
Thank you,
We'll
Kim.
be right back. Thank you.
Bye.
There is nothing I like better than finding a great deal on travel. And it turns out I'm not alone. Verify viewer Catherine emailed us to ask, is there a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket? So Catherine, let's verify. Our sources are Scott's Cheap Flights, a study by cheapair.com, and Brett Snyder, president of Cranky Concierge Travel Assistance and a former airline pricing analyst. Some studies suggest Tuesday or Saturdays are the cheapest days to buy tickets, but all of our sources say they usually rely on flawed or outdated data. For example, some articles suggest that weekends are the cheapest days to buy. Snyder points out that's based on data that tracks the average amount spent on a ticket each day of the week. Families tend to buy their tickets on weekends and usually purchase less expensive tickets. Meanwhile, business travelers tend to buy their tickets during the week, and many are less price sensitive.
A lot of the business travel, premium cabin or even last minute or whatever it might be, those tend to be higher fares.
The end result is a study that has skewed data. Similar articles suggest Tuesdays offer the best deals, but our sources say that's also not the case. Scott's Cheap Flights explains on its site that this idea is a holdover from the 1990s when airlines used to upload special e-fares on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. These days, Snyder says airlines use sophisticated algorithms to consistently adjust fares based on demand, regardless of what day of the week it is.
This hasn't existed for years. I couldn't tell you the last time when those actually were out there in the market.
So we can verify, no, there is not a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket. So when should you book? Cheapair.com found domestic tickets are generally cheapest 3 to 15 weeks before departure. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. Maintaining your car's resale value is essential for getting the most return on your investment. We've got tips to preserve its value that will pay off in the long run. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. First, keep your mileage as low as you can before selling. A car's life expectancy is 200 to 300,000 miles, and buyers will always go for the low mileage options. Next, clean your headlights. They're prone to scruffs and scratches, making them appear hazy, dull, and dingy, especially at night. You can avoid this with specific light cleaning products. And lastly, clean the interior and exterior of your car regularly. Avoid smoking and eating in your car. You can also wax the exterior to keep a nice shine, avoid rust and scratches. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call at 800-687-1821. We'll be right back.
Does sunscreen contain cancer-causing ingredients? We turn to the sources listed here to verify. In one high-profile instance, yes, by accident. In 2021, several Johnson & Johnson sunscreen products were recalled after they were found to contain traces of the carcinogen benzene, which the manufacturer says is not a sunscreen ingredient. On store shelves, you'll see two main types of sunscreen, chemical and physical. American Academy of Dermatology Association defines a chemical sunscreen as one that absorbs the sun's rays using chemicals like oxybenzone, and a physical sunscreen is one that deflects the sun rays with minerals like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. Much of the concern of sunscreen safety comes from research published in the last few years, finding the body can absorb ingredients in chemical sunscreen. Something applied topically can be found in the bloodstream days, even weeks later. Most chemical sunscreens include at least one of these common ingredients, according to the American Society of Clinical Oncology, that haven't been studied closely enough to be fully determined safe. The Environmental Working Group specifically recommends against using sunscreens containing oxybenzone, a potential hormone disruptor. However, Dr. Allison Larson explains the evidence supporting sunscreen's role in preventing cancer outweighs the known risk from absorbing chemicals.
If that's a concern, use a physical sunscreen. They simply stay as a layer outside the skin. And these are the sunscreens that used to be the very pasty white. It's totally different these days.
Our source is a watercolor study from Alive Solutions and Allie Gaines with Charlotte Aquatics. According to Alive Solutions, bright and contrasting colors are easier to see underwater. This is important because if your kid goes underwater for a long period of time, you'll want to easily spot them. The Alive Solutions color test shows some examples. In this series of photos, fabric colors such as bright reds, pinks, blues, and greens show up better when compared to fabrics such as light blue, light gray, black, and white. As you can see, the colors white and light blue basically disappear when underwater. Gaines says drownings are so prevalent in children under the age of 4, she confirms kids should be wearing brightly colored swimsuits.
Neon colors are much better. They're easier to spot in the water.
Gaines says while picking out the perfect swimsuit color is important for parents, it's only a secondary measure for preventing accidents in pools.
If you're not actually watching the water, if you're not actually watching your kids, it's really not going to do very good.
Gaines also suggests putting your kids in swim lessons at an early age to help get them used to being around the water.
So swim lessons are always going to be your number one way to keep your kids safe around the water, best way to prevent drowning. Formal swim lessons actually reduce the risk of drowning by 88%.
So we can verify that yes, brighter colored swimsuits are easier to spot if your kid goes underwater. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Welcome back to DBL. This show is all about you, the viewers, and we'd like to take a minute to give a shout out to one of our viewers who watches on KVUE in Austin, Texas, Shula Weiner. We just want to thank you for watching and let you know that we see you and we appreciate you.
Yeah, let's give it a little round of applause. There we go.
Appreciate you. And we have another very special viewer who's in our studio right now. She's the
me?
mom, not you, of our amazing senior producer, Karen. Yay! We joined us all the way from Winnipeg, Canada, and she never misses watching our show on Care 11. We see you. We appreciate you. Yay! And your daughter is a total gem. We're so lucky to have her. And there's one more. We can't forget Al's mom, Dr. Jackie. It's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Dr. Jackie.
Yes, Mama. What a great month we have. I love you so much. I would not be sitting here if it was not for you. I love you. I love you. Love you. FaceTime you in a second.
Oh, bye, guys.